I adore Vikram sir.
Okay.
I really do. This film never would have happened if he wasn't on set every day. The last thing I would ever want to do is come over and steal roles from local talent that deserve it. These relationships exist in real life and it's a story to be told.
Hi viewers, this is Kirubhakar from Cinema Express and you are watching Reeling In. Today with us we have Banita Sandhu who is making her debut with Adithya Varma. So let's talk to her.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be your first video interview.
Thank you.
I feel very honoured.
Tell me, so how is Chennai treating you?
I love Chennai. I'm so glad I got to come back for the release. It's been treating me really well and the weather's great because it's winter back home right now and it's so cold, so all my friends are really jealous.
So did you ask Dhruv about the other film? What happened with the other film, and did you
We did speak about it when I first came to set. I think I remember him saying, you know, he really believed in it and he really loved the teaser, and then it got released and he felt like his world came crashing down because he was illusioned and he really believed that was strong, and the audience didn't like it, and completely so. They're more than entitled to. I think that was the struggle for him. And I always forget that he's done this film twice, and it's not an easy character. It's incredibly toxic to play, and I can see the effect it's had on him because sometimes he can go quite method. But I do think, you know, it just makes me and probably the audience respect him more for picking himself up and trying to do something better and actually improving on his craft and his talent, because I think he's done a fabulous job in this version.
Last time when we met, you were talking about that, like people keep asking me about lip locks and all that.
Yeah.
So do you think it's odd that people in Indian cinema, there are a lot of videos, dancing, glamorous songs, but that is not a talking point. But when there is a lips lock, which is essentially an expression of love,
yeah,
it becomes the topic of discussion.
Yeah, I think it speaks to culture as well. You know, I grew up in the UK, and there, if I were to do a British film and they were singing and dancing in, that would be the main talking point, you know, like you said, whereas it's so normalized there to have kissing scenes and sex scenes. But it does get a bit tedious after a while being asked, like, well, what's it like to kiss on camera? Because at the end of the day, it's a job, it's my work. That's, you know, you just have to keep it professional. There's nothing scandalous or anything, you know, topical really to say about it. So, yeah.
How did you like Meera, playing Meera? So how do you relate to her character?
I didn't relate to her at all.
Okay.
She was a challenge. And I think that's one of the reasons I took up this film, is because she is the polar opposite to me. We are two ends of a spectrum. And I did struggle with her on set. There were times when we'd do a scene and my director, Girisa, would be like, no, rein it in, do this, do that. And I'd be like, I don't understand, like, why is she doing this? And I would get frustrated.
Okay.
And I'm so glad Girisa was there on set, otherwise I would have deviated from her a lot. And at the end of the day, we're making a remake. You do have to be true to the original. But there are some things, you know, that, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a different person to Charlene, I'm a different person to Kiara. Just me playing her is gonna make her different, regardless of whether my intention was to be the same or not. So she was a challenge, yeah.
If you meet Meera, like in real person, what would you tell her? And she's going through all these problems that she's facing in the film.
I would tell her to focus on her studies.
Okay.
And just not even, you know, but at the same time, it's her first love, you know. I feel like everyone's first love, you have to have that experience. So I would actually tell her to live in the moment, but focus on your own problems and your own struggles rather than just giving yourself 100% to someone. I feel like when you're so young and you have so much potential, she's, you know, at medical school, she's obviously a smart human being. You know, it's important to give yourself that time and effort too, rather than just devoting yourself entirely to someone at such a young age.
Okay. What's your idea of love in comparison to what's Meera's idea of love?
I think with Meera, she's young, she's naive, it's her first love.
The same could be said about you also.
Yeah, and I look at my first relationship, and I was also a bit dumb, like we all are. It's, you know, and that is the time to make your mistakes, and all I hope is, and I think, you know, we've all seen Arjun Reddy, so this isn't a spoiler, but towards the end of the film, she does get stronger, and she does stand up for herself, and she does establish boundaries with him. Before they reconcile, so you know, there is some kind of arc there. At least it just doesn't go back to the same old. And I just think with every relationship, whether it works out or not, it's there to teach you a lesson. It's character development, and the best thing you can do is hold your head high and just learn from it, and hopefully the next one will be better. And just, I think the most important thing is that you're happy in yourself,
right,
first and foremost. And I think that's what I would tell Meera, to be happier in herself.
Just because they shelved a film after shooting it completely,
Yeah.
You didn't feel that it was a red flag. Rather, you felt that
it was the green light.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
that was, I guess, in that way I work differently to a lot of actors, but it just, that to me proved that the intention behind this film was so strong, and at the end of it, it was just a team of incredibly talented people, incredibly experienced industry people, apart from Dhruv and I, wanting to make a good quality film. I mean, how can you say no to that when you have Vikram sir and Ravi sir, and you have a script like Arjun Reddy? So yeah.
How strong was the pitch? Because this film was already been made twice, and even in Tamil there is another version. You took it because of the face value of Vikram and Dhruv.
I mean, it was actually pitched to me by our producer Mukesh sir,
right.
Mukesh Mehta, and when I was offered the role, Kabir Singh hadn't been released then, and I think actually our film was meant to release before Kabir Singh, or around the same time. That was kind of the timeline. I actually think the fact that I knew Shahid Kapoor had signed up for it as well,
okay,
was there's a really good actor as well who wants to do this project, and Kiara I think's amazing. So I mean, when you look at each of the projects in whatever industry, if that's in Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, every team has really great actors and really strong filmmakers behind them. So I was just this script has something. I didn't really need to be sold too heavily, I guess.
Let's talk about the control an actor has over the script. So
Yeah.
if someone if you are playing a character which is problematic,
Yeah.
how much say do you think you have? And after signing in a script and at a point midway, if you feel that, oh, this is going somewhere and I don't want to do it, so do you think an actor will have a say?
I think I was lucky with this film in the sense that I can't even tell you how incredible it is to already see the final product before you even start filming, because I could just watch Arjun Reddy and I knew exactly what it was going to be. So I guess in that sense I felt like I had control because I knew exactly how it was going to pan out. The only difference was I just said, okay, can we just make some small changes here and there? So I guess in that sense there was control. I mean, I can only really speak from experience,
right.
So yeah, I guess.
So when you watched Kabir Singh or Arjun Reddy,
Yeah.
What was your reaction, and did you have problems with it?
Yeah, I've been very open that I had problems. Well, around the time I was signing the film, it had only been Arjun Reddy that had released, so that's all I could really work from. But there were problems as a woman that I had, especially as a woman outside of India, because there were some things which I'm culturally not accustomed to.
Right.
In the West, it's very different, and at the same time, I didn't want to come and kind of be post-colonial and preach and stuff. At the end of the day, this is the culture here. I'm working in a Tamil film. I have to respect that, and this is how it works here. Yet at the same time, I understand that from a female Indian audience, I understand that some members felt kind of uncomfortable watching certain scenes, and I completely get that. And I think the fact that this is not only a remake of Arjun Reddy, but it's a remake of the remake they made.
Right.
I knew that here's a team that would actually be willing to listen to what I have to say, because they really do want to get it right. And I feel so blessed and lucky that they actually did listen to me. I sat down with Vikram sir and Ravi sir and the direction team.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I said, the relationship needs to be more reciprocal. We can't just have it so one-sided. And Vikram sir and he actually suggested to me before I even approached him with it as well, and he agreed. And there were small nuances in my performance that I think just actually came naturally, but the intention was always there.
Do you think actors take up these controversial characters or characters which are different from what they are? They take it up because it's very challenging, or what's the reason?
I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I took her up. It wasn't purely character based why I took up her character as well. There was a lot of other factors that came into it. The fact that I knew we had Ravi sir and Vikram sir on set, the fact I knew I'd be working with Dhruv, also the fact that I knew they scrapped their entire first film and they were planning to reshoot the entire thing. For a lot of actors that would have been a red flag, because it's kind of just oh my god, they're going to have less time, less money, all of this. But in my head I was here's a team who are so devoted to giving the audience a good quality film that they are willing to put a year of financial funding and time behind them and completely start over again.
You are a literature student,
Yeah.
right? So how does it help in choosing your characters?
Even though I'm a literature student, I've always had a love for literature since I was a child. So whether I studied it or not, that passion would always be there. So I don't feel like it's, kind of had some overt control over my script and character choices, yet at the same time it obviously does, because that was 3 to 4 years of my life. I think it really helps me with character development. For example, with October, when I was pitched that script, I immediately saw the poetic side.
Right.
Whereas I feel like had I not studied literature, and I was just any old actress, I just would have seen that as, I wouldn't have understood it, if that makes sense. For me, I just saw, the allegory of Shuli the flower and Shuli my character, and, just the allegory of life and death, and just how thin that line is, and, what being in that hospital room meant. I understood it.
What is the need that a person from London, third generation Indian in London, must have to come to Chennai and play a role of a Tamil girl? So what do you think is the need?
I'm really glad you asked me this question, because I've actually never been asked it before. The last thing I would ever want to do is come over and steal roles from local talent that deserve it. So I can only speak for myself, and I can only speak for my personal experience. When it comes to a film like October, that was never something I planned. It kind of took me by surprise. But also, Sujit would say this all the time. He was like, no Bollywood actress would ever take this film. I shaved my hair off for it. I dedicated my life to it. I did it at the same time as uni. That's how devoted I was to that script. Because for me, my first film, it wasn't something where I was like, the film serves me and it's going to launch me. I always see filmmaking as I'm an actor, I serve the film. And I knew that I could serve, and I knew I could do justice to it. And also, there wasn't a lot of dialogues in that role. It could have been played by anyone, as long as you were Indian. And I am. My whole heritage is Indian.
Do you have this identity crisis of being too Indian for Britain and too Britain for Indian?
You know what, it's so funny, because my career has a bit of an identity crisis, and I feel like it is reflective of who I am. But I'm so young, I always forget that. In my mind, I think I'm 60 years old and I should have my life figured out.
Okay.
Like, I don't go out, I literally just, I'd rather be in bed at 9 p.m. and read a book or watch Netflix. But I am only 22, and I think it is completely normal, especially for British Asians or NRIs around the world, to kind of go through that phase of trying to figure out who you are.
So do you think that identity crisis plays a role in your performance, like choosing a character?
Not in my performance. I think once I've locked in on a character, that's who I am 100%. Even with Adithya Varma, I think Vikram sir was the most surprised that I just kind of eased my way into wearing a salwar kameez, and I just picked up all the nuances of a local Chennai girl.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just little things, and especially I think when you're shooting on the location where the film is set and you're surrounded by that culture 24/7 for 2 months straight, it's like a process of osmosis. You're obviously going to pick it up. So yeah, no. When it comes to when I'm actually in the character, I feel fine. But when it comes to choosing characters, sometimes I do think like, oh, can I pull that off? I'm not sure. But like I said, when you have a great team who support you 100%, I feel much more comfortable.
So did you find the submissiveness or the demure nature of Meera a bit problematic?
It's funny because like a lot of people ask me this question, and I just think, why is no one asking Dhruv if he found his toxic masculinity a problem? I think, and I've said before, cinema is a means of storytelling. As long as you're portraying a story and not glorifying it, I think it's fine. People like Meera do exist in real life. People like Adithya, they do exist in real life. And unfortunately, these relationships exist in real life, and it's a story to be told. As long as we make it clear that we are not glorifying or romanticizing or idolizing this relationship as like this is the ultimatum.
So what kind of roles would you like to do in Tamil, like from here on?
I think one role I would love to do is I would love to play a villain. Okay. In general, not just in Tamil, in whatever language will take me. But playing a villain I think is so interesting. Right. Because, I see my job as exploring other parts of myself and characteristics which, aren't exercised daily. And I feel like we all have that kind of villainous side to us, like no matter how suppressed it is, and I would love to just like explore that and just be so unapologetic about it. I think that would be really interesting.
So you've acted in shows, right? Like TV shows.
Yes.
So you're acting in films. How different is the process?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me this question. So after I wrapped Adithya Varma, literally 2 days later, I went out to shoot an American show called Pandora for the CW. Yeah. And that was an amazing experience because I feel like TV is a lot closer to theatre in the sense that everything's a lot quicker. Like you don't have that, you have so much to cover and you don't have that much time. Also, with television, you don't know where your character's going to go by the end of the season. You have maybe the first 4 episodes and that's it. Whereas with a film, you know exactly what it's going to be. You have that time, you have that preparation. But whilst I was shooting Pandora, I was getting my episode 6, which was my character's episode, like a week before we were shooting. And I had like a week to prep and I was stressing out. So television keeps you on your toes.
Okay.
Which I'm glad, because otherwise I feel like it could be quite mundane, because for me television feels more of like a routine job, because you go to the same studio, you're working on it for longer because there are more episodes with the same people. Whereas a film seems more like a passion project to me.
So how was Vikram sir on the sets? Like he was always there, I heard. Like
yeah. I adore Vikram sir.
Okay.
I really do. I can't even begin to explain to you how much he's inspired me, not even as an actor, but just as a human being. The amount he's dedicated to this film is, I can't even begin to tell you. It's insurmountable. I've never seen someone so passionate before in my life, and for someone of his caliber and of his stature and of his age to still want to make something so good for Dhruv and I, and we're just starting out, and not even just for us, for every single person, whether that was an extra, whether that was someone in the dubbing studio, he was always there for everyone when they needed him. And everyone kind of asked, like, oh, what was it like having on set, like as if he was annoying. This film never would have happened if he wasn't on set every day.
All right.
For sure.
So where do you go from here? Like, have you signed any other projects here?
I'm not allowed to speak about anything yet.
Right.
But all I can say is my next release is with Them Sing, so that's coming out next year.
Okay.
And you'll know soon enough what's happening after that.
Thank you for talking to us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to me. I rambled on a bit.
It's okay.
Hi, this is Banita Sandhu, and if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to Cinema Express.